Hi there. Are you watching Wheel of Time right now? Look, guys, I understand if you guys aren't watching this because you're watching Wheel of Time right now. And honestly, since this is pre-recorded, I'm probably watching Wheel of Time right now too. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. We are getting closer, guys, to the holidays, but more importantly, today is Wheel of Time Day. It did release on Amazon today while you're watching this. I'm actually recording this on Thursday night. You know what? The episodes are out right now, but I already decided to wait until Friday morning when you're watching this. Hopefully when you're watching this. Like I said, I'm sure you guys are probably watching Wheel of Time instead of this. At least I hope you are, because that's the way we get more Wheel of Time. But yeah, the plan was always to drop the kids off at school and watch it then. So that's what I'm going to kind of stick to. But guys, for the weekly update, lots of things happening on the channel. We're going to talk about those, beginning with what am I reading. I've had some interesting developments. Now, I did go on a big camping trip for scouts for the kids this past weekend. Guys, it was like balls cold. And yes, I'm in Houston. 35 degrees is balls cold. It's just too cold for me. So I couldn't sleep because I'm a light sleeper. And as you know, the woods are very, very noisy. And we were sleeping on an air mattress. So my wife tossed and turned. So I was like this the whole time, you know. So I didn't get very much sleep. So I only brought one book with me. I brought the Dragon Republic, and I finished it. And guys, I don't know if it's because I was freezing or what, but not a fan. Not a fan so much in a way that I think I'm not going to finish the series. I did not enjoy book 2 that much. I was thinking when I took my break from it that things that weren't bothering me turned up bothering me quite a bit. And there was a point where you're having like these big betrayals and twists and stuff at the end, and I couldn't find myself caring. And there's just so much other stuff I want to read right now. I learned this with Demon Cycle. I learned this with Lightbringer. Guys, sometimes if a series ain't working for you, I don't care about not finishing it anymore. I'm not one of those people who's like, I got to finish the series to be a completionist. I quit that a long time ago. I think it was when I got to like the last season of Mad Men and realized I'm not enjoying the show anymore. Why am I watching it? And I just dropped it. And so I kind of treat books the same way now. I don't really DNF too many books, but I will DNF a series if it's just not working for me anymore. And I think that's just going to be one of those. So sorry if you were waiting to hear me review the Poppy War trilogy. I just think maybe I'm just not the target demo for that. And it's not. I'll still stick by it. It's not a YA story. I don't think it has some YA tropes in it though that I don't really like basically just lipping off to your superior officer because you know you're empowered or something. That's just stuff that's hard for me to believe. All those years I grew up, watching military movies and Star Trek and stuff like that. Now it's called insubordination, and we weren't having it. So that's one of those things. Maybe it's just tough for me. I was not really down with those moments, and I did not find the protagonist very likable. So it was very, very hard for me to really become invested in that story. So that's where we are, guys. So again, sorry if you were hoping to hear me talk about that trilogy, because I don't think it's going to be finished here. I did I might finish a couple of trades of Berserk. I finished volumes 26 and 27, but obviously I haven't finished Berserk. Yeah, I'm moving along there. Finally got to see the famous Berserker armor that I've seen the art of a few times. So lots of things are really picking up in that arc. There were some things that I wasn't quite sure with the witches and the forest and the trolls and all that stuff kind of dragged a little bit. But again, Berserk, when Guts is fighting big greasy monsters, that's when Berserk is at its best, when he's crushing some heads, and he is definitely crushing some heads again. So I'm on board for where it is headed. So I'll be continuing that. Like I said, I'm probably doing about 1 or 2 trades of those per week at work on my lunch breaks and stuff like that. It's good times. It's a good time trying to hide Berserk while you're reading at your desk at lunch. Not because it's your lunch break, you can do what you want, but every time someone walks over there, hey, look, a pair of titties. That's just how Berserk rolls. It just happens sometimes. What else? I started almost finished actually with Rising Sun. This was always the plan. I got about 100 pages left in that. I am enjoying it. I said it was one of those that I think that when I was a teenager reading this right after Jurassic Park, that obviously wasn't what I wanted clearly, but I knew that I would enjoy it a little more at this age, and I am very much so. It's probably one of the first ones though where I'm not like where Mr. Crichton always was predicting things that were going to happen. I don't know that necessarily he was wrong on anything, but there's no big glaring thing like, wow, he was 5 years ahead of the curve, like there is in a lot of his books or whatever. But I think this is a good read, especially if you're interested in studying business. If I went to business school, so I think this is a very, very good look at the business world between America and Japan and things like that. So fun stuff. It's not going to be for everybody, I think. And in fact, I think this might be different than every other Crichton book that we've done on this great reread so far. But we'll get into that when I do eventually get to that review here. Sometime probably this month, we'll see what happens. Then I was like, hey, I'm out of my stuff for November. Look, here's the thing, guys. Yeah, I'm not done with the Crichton one yet, but I said I got an itch. I want to read some fantasy, some good fantasy, because Dragon Republic left me cold. So I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I looked at my schedule and I was like, well, I got that Godblind thing coming up in December. I guess I can start it early. So I went ahead and started Godblind #1, right? Well, apparently I upset some people on my Discord that were planning to read along with me in December. They weren't ready to bump their schedules up. So I only read like 28 pages here. And I said, okay, that's fine. People want me to wait. I'll wait, because I think it's always much better to read as a group. So yeah, that was just one of those things where I was like, I didn't want to pick up a new series or anything like that. And I don't want to, because we're going to be starting Malazan on the 1st. So what am I going to do? Well, that's a simple answer, guys. We're going to talk about it now, and what am I going to read. Now look, first I'm going to finish Rising Sun this weekend, probably. Like I said, that's almost done. And so I said, I've got some fill-in time. What do I want to do in this fill-in time? Now, I don't want to start another series. I mean, I got Tad Williams coming right around the corner. I got Malazan to finish up. We're still doing King and Crichton. I don't want to start another series. But so I got some time for some fill-ins. Maybe if there's like a book 1 of a series or something that's not done yet or anything like that. So I put up a poll of 5 books that I've had a lot of interest in. 2 you probably heard of. The rest of them, they might be flying a little under the radar to you. I don't know. But as of recording this, it's not a runaway poll, but it's very much a 2-horse race between Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff, which I have digital, and of course the Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. As of recording this, like I said, the Empire of the Vampire is up 9% over it. So I'll probably let that go per 24, 48 hours before I make a decision. Right now it's starting to look like it's going to be Empire of the Vampire, which is, I wouldn't say it's surprising, because I've heard so much about this book lately. I will say it's kind of surprising knowing my audience. So maybe I have this book misconstrued completely. I don't know. My guy Mark over at Slowly Read, I'll drop a link to his channel below. Awesome guy and an awesome channel. And just watching his review for today, his positivity and excitement about it were just infectious. And look, guys, I'll say this about the vampire genre. I have been begging since the 90s for adults to take the vampire genre back. So I hope that's what this is. And for what Mark said in his review, I really, really think it might be. So I'm willing to definitely give it a chance. So I put the poll up there. Now, here's the thing. I'm like, okay, I got just under 2 weeks until the next Malazan book. So the 2 books that are in the lead are both like 800-page tomes, so it's weird when you say you're going to fit a book in like that. And then you got Reaper's Gale coming up right behind it. But again, I don't mind waiting on the Godblind thing. I read the room wrong on that one, and I'm fine. I like to listen. I had no idea there were that many people actually reading along with me. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But again, it is what it is. So I'll finish Rising Sun, and whatever wins this poll, like I said, right now it's looking like it's going to be Empire of the Vampire, which it's going to be an interesting read. It'll be my first Jay Kristoff book. So excited. Like I said, I love vampires, so I just got sick of vampires being like the droopy stalking the teenage girl thing that we've done for the last 20 plus years now. So I'm hoping it is a very, very welcome change for that. And of course, I'll just continue with Berserk, guys. I got to finish up that arc here soon. So you guys will stop comment bombing me. When's the next Berserk review coming? But I talked about that last week. Let's talk about this week on the channel, guys. We did get out my Wheel of Time wish list. It's everything that I hope to see happen in Season 1 of the show. I think now that we're actually to the premiere of the show, a lot of those things might seem kind of dated, because it is a little more clear that they're not doing books 1 and 2 for Season 1. But for the sake of that video, I talked about book 1 and 2, just in case, to cover all my bases, in case they did kind of go that far into it. What I think they're doing is they're just pulling some things that happen in Great Hunt into Season 1 form for this, kind of combining it with Eye of the World, things like that. And that's fine. For an adaptation, you're going to see that. I mean, there was stuff that was from Return of the King that was in Two Towers, It always happens that way in an adaptation. So I did kind of talk about books 1 and 2 in there. So if you haven't read those two, I beware. But if not, it's fun to hear this grumpy old man talking about everything he hopes they don't cut out of this series, right? So that's what that is. Then the one voted on by you. Yes, I've been poll crazy the last few days. The poll I took was just 5 content ideas that I had, and said which one would you guys most be interested in. And by a long shot, I mean it was runaway. I think 43% of the vote or so, with over 5,000 votes, was best book number 1 in a series. So I got that one up, and I think it's mostly been received well. The biggest complaint that I saw on there is it's all popular books, and I try to tell people, guys, when you run a channel like this, almost everything that you're reading is based off of recommendations. So I don't get a ton of recommendations for stuff that isn't super, super popular. And I don't read a bunch of independent authors. I just don't have the time to. There's too much, other stuff that I want to read right now. So if you kind of feel like that, look, I always argue that, look, it's popular books, but they're popular for a reason, and that's kind of why I picked some. There's some that I think that might be a little unexpected on there, but yeah, a lot of the heavy hitters that you would expect to be on there. But I thought it was a fun topic, and I'm glad that most people seem to enjoy it and told me some of their book ones that I didn't talk about, either that I disagreed on or I just haven't read yet. And so I've actually added to my TBR from the comments in that list. There's some very, very good ones that I'm very interested in checking out now. I'm surprised I didn't get trashed more about No Name of the Wind or Liza Locklamora, but hey, it is what it is. There's plenty of videos on the channel where people were doing that. How about Kindles, guys? Yes, last Kindle video, I promise. Like I said last week, I know that those videos aren't exciting for everyone, but I do want to help out people who are looking, for answers from a person who actually uses these devices, not someone who just gets a demo for Amazon, holds it up for the camera, shows you how fast it is, and then boom, they're done. They got their clicks, they got their kickbacks from Amazon. I'm not getting any kickbacks from Amazon, guys. I just want people to be encouraged to read from an e-reader because I think it really helps with eye strain. And some people, if I'm going on a trip, do I want to take this? Or do I want to take my, Kindle that weighs less than a pound? I want to take my Kindle because it's much, much easier to travel with. So I think it depends on your lifestyle, really. But I wanted to talk about the 5 different versions that you can buy right now and kind of talk about which one I think is best for you based off price, based off of screen size, features, stuff that you're looking for, and I kind of try to sum that up. So I think that'll be the last Kindle video for a long time. Like I said, until the Kindle Color comes out, I think I'm pretty much done with the Kindle game for now. And the only reason I did that, guys, is just because I got asked so much about the new Kindle, and then the next question I get asked the most is, which one should I buy? There's too many of them to choose from now. So that's why I made those 2 videos. It was based off of feedback people wanted to know. So there we go. In case you missed it last week, guys, I think there is going to be a little bit of a content change here, and that I'm thinking about going down to 3 videos per week. Now, right now, look, that's not counting the weekly update. The weekly update's always going to happen. I don't count it as a video. So 4 videos if you're counting the weekly update. That's just going to be down to 1. I'm doing usually 5 right now, 5 videos a week. So I'll probably going down to 4 just because engagement levels are really starting to drop. I'm down to like 15, 20 new subs a day. So it just tells me I'm dropping out of YouTube's algorithm due to lack of engagement, lack of watch time, and things like that. So I said, okay, I think maybe I need to pull back on the content a little bit. I might be oversaturating my audience a bit. So it's just exploring some things. We'll talk about it more when we get to the monthly wrap up when we get to December here. But yeah, that's the plan right now. I'm going to be going down to about 3 new videos per week plus the weekly update. That is the plan for now. But let's talk about some things I got planned for next week. As you know, Wheel of Time is debuting, and there are 3 new episodes. So are me and Madison, or Madison and I, are we going to be doing As the Wheel Turns Forward? Absolutely. Are we going to be doing like 1 mega show? No, we're going to be doing 3 individual shows. We want to do 1 show per episode of the show. So there will be 3 new As the Wheel Turns episodes coming up this week. So that's going to dominate most of the coverage this week. And guys, you got to expect that with something as popular as Wheel of Time and this adaptation that's been, since this channel started, I've been talking about. it's finally here. You're going to get some coverage for it. So I hope you guys are watching. I hope you guys are interested. If not, I mean, hey, I understand that it's not going to be content that is for you, but we definitely want to talk about it because we're very, very excited about this moment. Short of when Game of Thrones premiered for me, I can't think of another TV adaptation I've been this excited for in a long, long time. So I'm excited to see what happens on the show, obviously, in the morning, and talk to my good friend Madison about it because we have been messaging back and forth all day about what we are hoping to see and, tempering expectations, but also allowing ourselves to be excited about it and things like that. It's a good time to be a fan, I think. As for other stuff, guys, it's just going to depend on how the week goes. It is a holiday week coming up here in the States. Thanksgiving is on Thursday. So, I still got my Wayward Pines I want to talk about. I still want to talk about Gerald's game. I do have a time slot I'm working out with AP Canavan, if you know who that is. He's just a scholar and a gentleman. His channel is A Critical Dragon. I'll drop that channel link below. He talks mostly about Malazan, but he studies books in a way that I couldn't even imagine talking about them. But he's going to be my next guest on Talk About Nothing. We haven't had a new Talk About Nothing in a while. Just kind of got bogged down with so much stuff I wanted to talk about. I haven't had a chance. But me and AP had plenty to talk about before we record our Memories of Ice episode and after. And I said, I need to have you back on the channel. We can talk about something other than Malazan and see where that conversation takes us. And I thought that would be a perfect conversation with Mr. Canavan. I can't wait to do it. Now, I don't know if that's going to be out next week or not because, like I said, it just depends on when we're able to work time together because we're already on different sides of the globe. We do have a holiday here in the States, and it's probably going to play into a factor. Now, before I move on, guys, from to the TV and movie talk segment that I usually have right here, I do want to take a second to say something a little serious and quite heartbreaking, honestly. I wanted to give my condolences to John Gwynn and his family. If you don't know, John Gwynn's daughter did pass away recently. It was something that he's disappeared from social media for a couple months. So is the Gwynn brothers, and you knew something was going on, and it was quite just shocked to read his post the other day. And I just want to say this, as a parent, that's a nightmare that I live with daily, is the thought of losing a child. It's something I can't even imagine. It's just the worst case scenario. That's why reading Pet Sematary as an adult hurt me way more than it did reading it as a teenager when I just wanted to be scared. The thought of losing a child is just something I can't even imagine processing it. So I don't know what incredible pain John and his family must be going through right now, but I'm there with you guys. I feel I wish I had the words to tell you how sorry I am that you're having to go through this. So please, guys, drop him some condolences. Let him know that he's in your thoughts and things like that. And I don't know what to say else other than that. I'm terribly, terribly sorry that you guys are having to go through this. And we'll never forget her, John. So thank you for sharing that part of your life with us. And anything that I can do personally, please do not feel scared to reach out and let me know. I would be more than happy to help. So there we go, guys. TV and movie talk. I do want to talk about these Wheel of Time reviews real fast. Now, I don't have a problem with reviews. I've said for a while now, if I disagree with critics, it's probably a good thing. There is one problem I have with some of these reviews, though. And it's not just the know-it-alls who clearly have never read the series. And I'm not that person, guys. I'm not the one that's been like, well, if you haven't read it, you're not allowed to talk about it. Not that. But don't be snarky in your review of a show, acting like you know what you're talking about. And you're like, wow, you really sound like a moron right now. But that isn't my biggest problem. My biggest problem is I keep seeing this thing where they're saying, like, Wheel of Time is going to fail if it just keeps trying to be Game of Thrones. Here's my deal with that. You guys won't stop comparing it to Game of Thrones. Reviewers, you guys, they're the reviewers. If you're going into it comparing it to Game of Thrones, you're guilty of doing what you're accusing the showrunners of doing. Now, when I get into the brass tacks of what they're talking about, basically, sex and violence. I missed the part where Game of Thrones had a monopoly on sex and violence. What's next? It has a wolf in it. It can't have a wolf in it because Game of Thrones had wolves in it. Guys, it's fantasy. There's going to be wolves in it. Now, I can see if like they decide, you know what, we're going to change Nynaeve to be looking exactly like Khaleesi, and we're going to change Bella the horse into a pet dragon. I can see if they were doing that, but literally, because there's violence in it. Look, Robert Jordan wasn't the type of author who explained to you what was going on. He would tell you something like, hey, Do you know what Trollocs do? They eat people. He just wouldn't go into Joe Abercrombie, you know, and George R. R. Martin and tell you piece by piece how this is happening, you know, while the person's still alive and watching it happen to themselves. That's what those guys would do. Robert Jordan didn't do that. He'd tell you these things are going on. He just didn't describe it to you. So, yeah, when you're going to be seeing it in a visual medium, you're going to be seeing the Trollocs eat people. Wow. Yeah, it's going to happen. So, again, I think that just when you're comparing it to Game of Thrones in your review, don't accuse them of trying to be like Game of Thrones. I think that you're really just contradicting yourself there a little bit. But again, the reviews are kind of mixed. I'm really not even interested. I'm interested in knowing what fans of the book think, and of course, what non-readers think, because non-readers are the ones who are going to decide how many seasons of this show we get. You know, the book fans, unless they make some serious changes, which is always possible, I think they're going to be there regardless. But, you know, you got to hook in some new viewers. That's why, personally, I'm okay with some changes, because I know they're going to have to make some changes to hook in new audiences. As long as the story stays the same, I don't care about little. I don't care if this character's eyes are blue. I don't care if this character's a boy instead of a girl or vice versa. That stuff doesn't bother me very much. As long as the spine of the story stays, that's what I care about. And don't do any of that crazy stuff with my main characters. I'm just fine with everything you want to do. But I'm looking forward to watching it here very soon. They did drop the trailer for The Expanse Season 6. And I'm kind of bittersweet about it. I don't like that I know the actor that played Alex got into some trouble with just everyone, basically. So he pretty much got written off the show because he got in some real life trouble. But I love those four actors together, and then you throw Bobby and Avasarala in there. I just love that main cast together. So I just feel like it's going to be, I don't know, like you're missing an arm or something this season without Alex. And I don't know, something's just not rubbing me right about this, them being 3 books away from the end and then just stopping it here. And then also, this is going to be the shortest season of the show yet. So it's just got that feeling like it's going to be rushed. But as for the trailer, I mean, it looks awesome. It looks like The Expanse, guys. It looks epic. It looks really good. And I will always be down for more Avasarala because she's the best. She's the best character, I think, on TV right now. And I can't wait to see more of her. And I still hope that Denny puts her in Dune. Watch that video, guys. All right, but I want to close this by talking about No Time to Die, James Bond. I finally did get to watch it. And I've had a lot of people that were curious about my thoughts on it. Now, look, guys, I'm a huge James Bond fan. I have watched every single one of them numerous times. I've been a fan since I was old enough to my parents would let me watch them. That's how long I've been watching James Bond movies. Daniel Craig hasn't been my favorite James Bond. I've liked his movies okay. They're pretty hit or miss, like a Roger Moore or something like that. They've been like that. I mean, be honest, every James Bond had some movies that were great and some movies that were not so good. That's just the franchise. I think it's, batting a little over about 600 if I'm being honest here. So that was never really my problem with this. What I always thought about with Daniel Craig was it just felt like, okay, so you're just doing what Timothy Dalton did in the late 80s that everybody hated. But now that we're into anti-heroes and gritty stuff and just, now we love this version of the character. So I think that might be a little bit more. I always considered Timothy Dalton to be, I've only read 2 Ian Fleming Bond novels, but Timothy Dalton to me was the one that was just like the James Bond in the books. So that might be part of it. I don't know. But as for No Time to Die, I'm going to say I liked the movie quite a bit. I actually did. All the things I was worried about them doing, all of the marketing betrayed this movie. Honestly, I think the marketing for this probably costed about another $100 million in the States, just because of how bad the marketing was, because they made it look like a movie that it wasn't. And I think that was a bad idea, because this was very much a James Bond movie. It was not this passing the torch or this, humiliation of James Bond that the trailers made it look like it was going to be. I thought it was very good. I do wish that Rami Malek had not disappeared for an hour in the middle of the movie. I wish the movie hadn't been 2.5 hours long. But as far as everything else, I thought it was really good, had really good action. It had a really gripping final act, was really good. There's a stairwell scene that's right on par, I think, with like that Daredevil Season 2 stairwell scene, except with guns. Just like the single camera shot. I think Atomic Blonde did it really good too, if you missed that one. But I liked the movie quite a bit. I think it might be the second or third best that Daniel Craig did. Like Casino Royale has always been my favorite. I get grilled for it, but I thought Skyfall was good. I didn't think it was as amazing as everyone else does. But again, to each their own on that. But I liked it a lot, and I won't lie to you guys, the ending did get me a bit emotional. I want to talk about, now that I've had a few days to process it, I think I know why. it isn't because of what happened, I think, in this movie. Because by now you've probably heard what happens at the end of this movie. I don't think that's why I got emotional as much as, to me, as someone who's been watching James Bond for like 40 years now, it feels like the end. And I know that at the end it says James Bond will return. Look, guys, I'm not saying I don't think they're not going to make James Bond movies anymore. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to make James Bond movies that I recognize anymore. I think that they're very clearly going to be going for this Gen Z version of James Bond that will click with those audiences, because they want to keep the character viable for, you know, younger audiences. I get that. So I feel like this is the end of James Bond as I know it, as my generation and the generation before me that grew up with James Bond, as they knew it. I feel like this really is going to be the end of this version of the character. And I think that's where I was like, okay, this is the culmination of 25 movies here. And yeah, it was a heart-wrenching moment, I think. So I think that's what it was for me. But as for the movie, I think it's definitely a recommend. If you like James Bond, if you like the Daniel Craig era, I think you'll like it. It's not a perfect movie. No James Bond movie is, but it's very, very much a very watchable movie, and definitely a great swan song for Daniel Craig. I'm glad that Spectre wasn't his swan song, because that would have been a sucky way for him to go out. But this, I think, was a really good way for him to go out. And yeah, minimal gripes with it, but still a very, very good ending, I think, to this version of the character. I hope that they prove me wrong about where it's going, but yeah, that's just how I feel about it. So guys, how was your week? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you playing? I hope you're watching Wheel of Time. Drop in the comments and let me know what's going on with you, and I will talk to you there.